When it mattered most, the Blue Bullets showed up and put forth a dominating performance. It was win or go home for Knoxville. Not only did they win, they won in flawless fashion. From the opening kick to the final horn, the Blue Bullets put on a clinic to finish Stark County 55-14. Week 1 of the IHSA playoffs has Coach Turner and his team on the road headed east to take on the 8-1 Clifton Central Comets. Today we talk finishing the regular season in spectacular fashion and look ahead on what to expect this weekend. This is Timeout with Coach Turner, Playoff Edition, Week 10, the Comets. With Coach Turner postseason podcast, which is nothing wrong with that. So, Coach Turner, welcome. Thank you again for joining me this evening. I guess, what can I say? Your boys faced a must-win game Friday night, and they came out and performed probably above and beyond what even you were hoping. This might be a stupid question, I said, but how did that feel?
Well, first, thanks for having me in again. And, yeah, I mean, I'm just super proud of the kids. Like, they came out and performed exactly how we wanted to. I mean, executed the game plan, played fast and physical like we preached all year. Like, just so happy for them because I think a little bit of a light bulb went off for them. Like, holy cow, like, we're darn good when we, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that was as far as a spectator's concerned, the most put together game all around, offense, defense, special. I mean, everything was clicking, and it just seemed the kids didn't let the additive senior night, the additive must win, like they didn't let it distract them.
Yeah, and against a good team, that's a playoff team. You
absolutely.
know, like it's not like we're doing it against somebody that's got one win or zero wins. Like to do it against a really good team makes it that much more gratifying. You know.
Yeah. So for those who maybe haven't heard, Knoxville picks up a huge win over Stark County 55-14. This win qualifies them for the IHSA playoffs. Like we've been saying, from opening kickoff to the final horn, it was a complete domination by the Blue Bullets. I guess what was the feel leading up to the game in the locker room? Did you sense the kids were ready? Did you sense they were nervous?
No, I all week, coming off of a tough week last week, I was, worried about getting their mojo back and getting them excited. Well, not necessarily excited, but just, getting them focused and playing with energy in the right direction again. And we had a really good week of practice. So I kind of sensed like, okay, they're focused up, they're on the right path. And, we talked last week on the podcast. We did some things for the seniors, let them talk to the guys, and we did the jersey exchange, and all those things went really well. And I think some of that kind of stuff kind of helped them focus up a little bit more. Like, not necessarily that the game was more important than any other game, but like the saying in the hourglass is. Yeah,
absolutely. So like I had a talk with Bryden, and I told him like, you have 48 minutes, 2 halves, 4 quarters that you're guaranteed. And then, like you said, then it's the past.
Right.
It's over. And I was like, when you have kids, these last 9 weeks will be the 9 weeks you talk about when you're 50.
Yeah.
This is what matters. This is what counts. So, and I said, like, so have fun, be a good teammate, and I could tell he received it well.
Yeah.
So he was ready, and I told him, don't fumble. And luckily, his 2 fumbles were down and out of bounds. I was like, oh.
Well, and like we've talked a little bit, I have the guest speaker each week, and that's part of the beauty of it. They hear from me and the other coaches all the time, and Ronnie Nelson was our guest speaker this week, and he kind of talked to him like, I'm jealous of you guys because I never played a meaningful football game in Knoxville in my life.
Right.
Like, they didn't have the playoffs when he played. There was no such thing. You just played to play the season. And then he's like, he talked about the playoff boards. He's like, you guys come back in 15 years, 20 years, you can tell your kids, like, hey, that I played with this guy, and I played with that guy, and that was my team, and and that's the beauty of it, like that stuff. I will say, even like the kids on the side, like, they took full advantage of what might have been their last time playing, and it showed. Obviously, it showed. So when I say a complete domination, just a few stats to back that up. Total offense, Knoxville, 492 yards. Stark County, just 104. So that right there, without even, we'll branch off, but that right there shows you it was a pretty lopsided game. Rushing wise, Bryden Walters, big game, 168 yards and 4 touchdowns on just 8 carries. James Long, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 7 carries. Austin Harshberger, 90 yards, 1 touchdown, 8 carries. Colton Smith, senior, got action. He actually had 43 yards on 6 carries. So that was good to see. Tanner McGarry, 22 yards and a touchdown, 2 carries. Easton Harshberger, 18 yards. Quentin Woodruff, freshman, got some action late. 13 yards on 2 carries. Got his heart broken. When he ran in for the touchdown, and he was super pumped. And I was watching when I said penalty flag, and his soul just left his body. He was so distraught. But Callum Johnson also added 16 yards on 3 carries. So senior Bryden Walters, he played like a machine, really, both sides of the ball. What might be just as impressive as the stats I mentioned just a few seconds ago was if we could have kept track of yards after contact Friday night. Absolutely.
Or how many tackles he got out of or avoided or missed. We've talked numerous times about the backfield capabilities. So how good is it to see a senior have a night like this, and how important is that confidence, hopefully, that he'll carry into round 1 next week?
Yeah, it's just great all the way around. And, how coaches are. I talked to Coach Wash this morning, and he rewatched the game and stuff, and he's like, all your backs ran really hard. He goes, but the most impressive part was they blocked their butts off for each other. And that's the first thing he noticed, and it's like, we've been preaching that, and then it makes everything easier for each other. And then, like you said, the way our offense is designed, it's designed to get 4 to 7 yards, and then it becomes the yards after contact bust off those big ones. And I'm not calling any kids out or any other, but there was some kids that made business decisions and didn't want a part of some tackles there later in the game.
Oh,
And
definitely.
Kudos to our kids. They weren't our kids, so that's the main thing.
So as we've said before, and we haven't really given much props past few weeks, but the backfield, there's no way they can do their thing without the offensive line doing theirs. Your linemen Friday night had a night as well. So what can you say about the protection the guys provided up front? Because there was nothing in the backfield. There was no pressure all night. Yeah,
well, we dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Like, you go back and watch the film, and on offense, we're knocking them back. On defense, we're knocking them back. And that makes football really easy and fun when you're on that side of it. Our offensive lines just really carried us all year. With all conference nominations coming up here as the season wraps up for other teams and stuff, we have those discussions, who we put up, who we not. And so you start to look at stats, and we were so balanced offensively. I think when you look at the season-long stats, we have 4 guys over 400 yards, and then our top 3 rushers, Bryden, James, and Easton, are all within 200 yards of each other. One's at 800, one's at 700, one's at 600. And so just that balance shows that our offensive line is just taking care of business for all of them. 100%. It's not like one guy is just running away with things.
Yeah, and I know early in the season we talked about the line, but we haven't given them their props they've deserved, for a couple weeks. Doesn't go unnoticed, but definitely in a night like this. On the defensive side of the ball, we had James Long, Bradley Cummings led the way with 4 tackles each. And without going into listing all the tackles, because we had a lot of guys on the defensive side, here's what I took away from observing, calling the game Friday night. So the pressure, like we just said, that we prevented, our pressure on defense was suffocating all night. So unfortunately, Stark County, their starting quarterback went down, which game-ending knee injury, hopefully not season-ending, hopefully he can come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we wish him nothing but the best, but nonetheless, when he went out, their offense struggled.
Yes.
They had a good drive going, but after he went down, that was it.
Yeah.
So some guys that stand out in my mind, not necessarily because they had all kinds of tackles, but Brady Agan disrupted the backfield, it seemed, every single play in the second half. Just boom, boom, boom. Brady's there, whether he got tackled or not, he was in the backfield. He was timing it well. Nick Flacco, he seemed to be all over the place, causing problems for the offense. Bryden Walters, not a lot of tackles, but it seemed every one of his tackles made a statement. He had a couple suplexes. He just was out hitting hard. And Daniel Huddleston, he left his mark out there. He was flying around. By far, it was the most dominating performance, in my opinion, by the defense all season. I guess, so what can you add about the defense Friday night?
Yeah, like you hit on there. We always talk to the guys. We want to play 11 as one. So you highlighted a few guys that had some tackles and tackles for loss, which is great. But other dudes were eating up blocks and doing things to provide for their teammates. Where if when you're playing defense, if one guy gets selfish and wants to make a play for himself, and then it exposes another teammate, and we literally played 11 as one. Like, okay, you want to block Brady on this play? Well, here comes Nick or Daniel or whoever. Okay, we got to block that guy, and then here comes Brady, and so they dialed into the game plan. We switched fronts on them. We brought different pressures than we've shown all year, and the kids executed the game plan to a T.
Yeah. So just another quick summary. If you had to describe how you wanted a game to go to finish your regular season, no matter what the implications were for Week 10, you would have described this game. We had one, I'll call it a mishap on that punt, but it wasn't even a mishap. It didn't come back to
our defense made up for the mistake.
Yeah, and no turnovers. I don't even know if they had any turnovers. Did they start counting any turnovers?
I don't think so.
But it was the most complete game the Blue Bolts have put together this season. Again, they beat the Stark County Rebels, score 55-14. This leads us into Week 10, round one of the playoffs, our next weekend, and we are going to dive into what seems to me, like I said, as a spectator and fan, a pretty good draw. So we'll dive into that now. All right, Week 10 takes the Blue Bullets out east to Clifton, Illinois, to face the Comets. At 8-1, Clifton. At 8-1, Clifton Central appears to be a good draw for us, at least comparatively to what it could have been. Like you just said when we paused to reset here, you went north in 1A football, and this is not a downplay to Clifton, you avoided the stereotypical big dogs.
Right.
And you would avoid them for a couple rounds should everything go our way. So at first glance, what do you see coming up this weekend?
They're an athletic team. Scheme-wise, they're very similar to Stark County, what they want to do, and they want to throw the ball downfield and get things in big chunks. And they got a nice quarterback that's athletic and throws a nice ball. But the Stark County game was really good for us, but a lot of the schemes being the same to be able to carry over week to week helps a lot too. So, they're two completely different teams with different sets of kids, but scheme wise and things they like to do, it carries over.
Yeah. So just comparing schedules and our opponents' records, their opponents' records. Clifton Central's opponents were a combined 37-44. So the teams they faced had a combined losing record, with three of these teams just being one-win teams. Knoxville's opponents were a combined 43-38. So really on paper, it's essentially even, a difference of 5, or so wins. It seems to be a game that kind of like a game we've seen all year. Just like I said, by looking at it, like you just said, the scheme is going to be similar. So I guess how accurate or inaccurate is my math here, my quick math based on that? Like, it's not something that's going to shock us.
Yeah. I mean, no, we're extremely battle tested. This is our 7th consecutive week playing a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our first 3 weeks we played 3 teams that didn't qualify, but from week 4 on, every team we've played qualified. So our kids are battled, and we went 3-3 down that stretch, which, you know, like we've talked, no moral victories. We're trying to win all 6 of them. We go 3-3, but that does prepare us for what's coming up this weekend, where. Like you said, we're not downplaying their conference. They got some really good teams in that conference, and but we've had success going over East. You know, we have some history with that conference. In 19, we beat Watseka in the second round. 22, we beat Bismarck in the second round. Yeah. 23, we lost to Moments. So like, it's a different team out of that league, but right. We've seen teams out of that league, and we've had success over there. So we got to put that confidence on our kids. Like, it's a business trip. We got to go over there and take care of business.
Yeah. Again, you've already pretty much answered this, but I guess what are their strong points?
Their quarterback and a couple receivers are nice players, and then defensively, they got a couple linebackers that, you know, play downhill and fast and physical, so we got to get a hat on those guys. I got a close watch, you know, some more film to pick up on some other stuff, but those are the big things I noticed. They want to throw the ball vertical down the field, and get the ball to a couple different receivers, and then they got some nice linebackers like to flow around.
Yeah. And I have here, which I already know the answer, the focus of practice this week. The good thing is you don't have to, guys, this is something we've never seen, so pay attention. This is another week of practice, you know, so that can't, you know, that can't hurt. That's got to help. So is there a team on our schedule we faced this year that, you know, when you first been watching film, God, this reminds me of, and you mentioned Stark County. I mean, is that closely emulated with?
I've the people I've asked around town, like, I would, like I said, scheme-wise, very similar to Stark County. Athlete-wise, I'd say similar to West Hancock.
Yeah.
You know, so that's of the teams we played, the closest comparisons I would say. And both are playoff teams, so
right.
we battle tested for that.
Yeah. So, you know, entering the playoffs at 5-4, typically, you know, I wouldn't call it a death sentence, but really, it typically is. But just seeing how the guys performed Friday night, the momentum is sure to carry through this week. We got a great draw with it sounds like a familiar foe, even though they're not familiar. I guess I'm going to ask you the same question I ask every week, but what are the keys to victory for us?
Well, we got to limit their big plays. If they want to advance the ball down the field vertically like they do, we got to limit their ability to do that. We got to get pressure on the quarterback. We talked about that last week. Obviously, as we talked earlier about Stark County, we had a good success getting pressure on the quarterback, and then if we take care of the ball on offense, like our only one game all year that our offense hasn't been steady clicking the ball down the field in the Ottawa week. You know, so if our offense keeps the ball in our hands and we limit their big plays, you know, it looks like it's gonna be a really tight game.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, it's just business as usual. Saturday's business as usual. For those that have not heard, Knoxville travels to Clifton, Illinois for a 4 p.m. kickoff. Clifton is 2.5 hours away. It's straight east, kind of under Kankakee a little bit. Not quite to Indiana, but I know, you know, like, oh, that's a long drive. It'll be late coming home. I encourage anyone and everyone who can make the trip. We've got a good thing going. There's a little buzz back, you know, kids are excited, you know, families are excited. So we wish, as every week, you, your staff, your athletes, good luck. We'll be there. Hopefully we travel well. I actually ran into somebody today in town that is not tied to the school, and asked me if I knew. And I said, yeah. He's like, you know, I might actually make that trip over. I'm like,
that'd
awesome. Be awesome. Like, yeah. That's good. So, once again, Saturday, make a day out of it. take the kids over there, take the family over, whoever wants to go, and hopefully we watch the Blue Bullets pull off the upset of Clifton Central Comets. So we will see you, if not before, we'll see you on Saturday.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Go Big Blue.